Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast. It is yours truly, TJ Jones, and thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. And as y'all can see, I'm back at the radio station. It's been a while, man. It's been probably like 3 weeks since I've been at the radio station. I've been working from home, but I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you all are spending your morning with yours truly. Just want to say to each and every one of you, I appreciate your time. And, this is a very interactive show for those that are new to the State of the Saints podcast. This is the show where if you have questions or comments, you can just go ahead and put the comments inside the chat, and we answer questions. On this edition, we're going to be talking about Taysom Hill and Sean Payton. And does Sean Payton trust Taysom Hill? And this topic actually came from a listener of the State of the Saints podcast, so this isn't my opinion about the situation. I'm just answering a question, and I thought it was quite intriguing, especially since when we think about it, we look at the game against the Denver Broncos, and some members of the Who Dat Nation are using this as a bulletin board material or using it as the bighorn that they use to tell everybody that Taysom is not the guy and not the future of the New Orleans Saints. So, like I said, I just thought it would be an interesting topic, and also I'll be taking some of your questions. But let's go ahead and start. Let's talk about Taysom Hill for a second. Okay, it was his second start against the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos didn't have a quarterback. They ended up using Kendall Hinton, a practice squad receiver who didn't play quarterback in years. And the Saints ended up scratching their entire offensive game plan. Okay, they decided to keep it conservative. They decided to run the football more than passing it and not put Denver in a position where hope would be given to them, right? I mean, you don't turn the ball over, you don't make any mistakes, and you just keep the ball, on your side. And if you don't if you don't convert on third down, just punt it. And hopefully, they get the ball back, won't do nothing with it. So Taysom Hill only threw the ball 16 times in this game. Okay, he only threw the ball 16 times. The Saints ran the ball 44 times. And people are asking the question, why did Taysom Hill only throw the ball 16 times? It must be because Sean Payton don't trust him. Look, I'm not buying it, all right? I'm not buying the fact that Sean Payton doesn't trust Taysom Hill. Because if you look at everything that's going on with the New Orleans Saints, if you look at the playoff positioning, you look at the fact that they have the number one seed, there's a lot on the line for the New Orleans Saints. And I fail to believe that Sean Payton would be trying to experiment with Taysom Hill at this particular point. He has Taysom Hill in the game because he feels that Taysom Hill can win him some football games. Sean Payton is not the one to sugarcoat. We've seen this on several occasions. We've seen him bench guys for not doing certain things. We know about him, benching Kenny Vaccaro a couple years back. We know about him benching Jamal Brown a couple years back. So it's not like, I don't get that vibe. I think that Sean understands what Taysom Hill brings to the table. He understands his skill set. And I really feel like Sean Payton has schemes, and offensive innovation design for Taysom Hill, in order for him to go out there and play the quarterback position. I just think that the Saints just completely scratched the game plan. They scratched it, scraped it, get it up out of here. I mean, this was a game where it was, I hate to say it because, like Rodney Harrison said, there are no easy games in the National Football League, but, I mean, you have to say it. This was an easy football game. The only way the Denver Broncos were going to beat the New Orleans Saints if the Saints beat themselves first. And I like the game plan. Just run the football, pound it down their throat, right? Pound it down their throat and then go home with the dub. That's it. So I know how people feel about it. People want to see Taysom Hill in action, right? You want to see Taysom Hill throw for about 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and just say, man, you know what? This is the guy. Or you want to see him go out there, throw 4 interceptions, get mad, throw something at the television and say, man, get him up out of here. We want Jameis. I have a few conspiracy theories about that. I think some of you probably heard me talk about it when Mark Menard from WWL was on the show a couple of days ago. I really feel like Sean Payton is hiding out Jameis Winston. That's first and foremost. I think that Sean Payton is a guy who pays attention to certain things. I think he has a great attention to detail. And I really feel like he doesn't want history to repeat itself. I really feel like Sean Payton wants to hide Jameis Winston out and keep him far away from the field as possible. And he really feels like he can fix Jameis Winston to a point where if Drew Brees was to retire, then Jameis can be a good offensive player for the team, a good quarterback for the team. And I think that he learned this lesson from Teddy Bridgewater, which, I always felt like there was a plan that backfired. I feel like Teddy Bridgewater was the guy that Sean Payton wanted as his quarterback. He wanted Teddy to be the successor to Drew Brees. I think some conversations were taking place, and I really feel like Teddy came back because he wanted to be, the successor to Drew Brees. But, Drew Brees ends up getting hurt. He misses 5 games. Teddy comes in the game, plays well, puts a complete body of work out there for organizations to see. And it didn't help the New Orleans Saints because, him being out there, it really cost them an opportunity to use Teddy Bridgewater. So I'm looking at this like he's trying to do this with Jameis Winston. He's trying to fix the issues with Jameis Winston. He feels like he can. And he's trying to keep Jameis Winston off the field because he doesn't want any tape on him to be out there surfacing, being like, you know what, man, I think we need to go out here and get Jameis. Or I think we need to get him, man. You seen how he played against the Eagles? You seen how he played against the Falcons? You seen how he played against the Chiefs? I don't think he wants that out there. So that's the reason I feel like this whole Taysom Hill experience is going on. And plus, I think a promise was made to Taysom Hill to give him a fair shot at being a starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. So you're not disappointing Taysom, and at the same time you're helping Jameis Winston fix his issues. And I don't want to hear that stuff about, Jameis, he can't fix his issues. Look, we see it going on in Tampa right now with Tom Brady. We seen it going with Carson Palmer. We seen it with Big Ben Roethlisberger. We seen it with Andrew Luck. Bruce Arians' quarterbacks under his tutelage suffer, okay? And they play really bad. They have a high rate of interceptions, and they make a lot of mistakes out there because he wants to throw the ball down the field. I think with Jameis and Sean Payton together, I think that Sean Payton can make him a better quarterback. Once upon a time, Drew Brees wasn't the quarterback he is for the New Orleans Saints. He wasn't always the first ballot Hall of Famer that he is right now. Under Marty Schottenheimer, he suffered. He was a middle of the pack, almost below average quarterback. Till he came to New Orleans and Sean Payton took him under his wing and turned Drew Brees into a really good quarterback. So, I just feel like schemes matter, folks. I feel like schemes matter. I feel like schemes keep guys on the field. I feel like offensive innovators keep guys relevant. They keep these guys at the top of their game. I really feel like as good as Patrick Mahomes is, I don't know if Patrick Mahomes would be as good as he is if Doug Marrone was his coach. I think he would have all that arm talent, but I don't think he would be the quarterback that he is today without Andy Reid. I look at guys like Sean Payton. I don't know if Drew Brees would be the quarterback that he is today if it wasn't for Sean Payton. I think that Drew Brees would be a really good quarterback, but I don't think he would be all-time great if it wasn't for Sean Payton. Guys need good coordinators. Guys need, they need that person in their ear to tell them when they're doing right, when they're doing wrong. Jared Goff is another guy. Some of y'all probably don't know this. Some of y'all do if you follow sports. But do you know that Sean McVay, the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, talks to Jared Goff through his headset and tells him the coverages and where to throw the ball when he sees like certain looks. They talk all the way up to the 15-second point when the mic goes out. Okay, so basically he is the quarterback whisperer, literally and figuratively. You need that guy. I feel like that's the same issue with Carson Wentz. I made a video about that a couple of days ago. I just feel like the reason why he's suffering is because of, you don't have a good offensive coordinator. I don't think guys just forget how to play the quarterback position. It's rather two things are going to happen. It's rather a guy that has untapped potential under the right offensive coordinator is going to live up to expectations or exceed expectations, or he's going to go to somebody that's going to be his demise and it's going to cause him a lot of hardship. I think with Jameis Winston, first off, Jameis Winston went to a situation in Tampa that was a train wreck. No disrespect to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan base out there, but I think I'm not telling y'all something y'all don't already know. It was a train wreck. It was terrible out there. And they drafted Jameis Winston as the first pick overall to save a franchise. And you didn't put much around him. You didn't really fix the offensive line. You never really gave him a running game. And you gave him a whole bunch of weapons to put behinds in seats. And that's cool, man, because, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they are incredible wide receivers. But, if you want to talk about winning, winning ain't always sexy. It's not always going to look good. I'd rather have a Tennessee Titan type offense and be winning football games to just have an Eric Coryell throw the football all over the place, greatest show on turf type offense and don't win nothing. So I feel like with Tampa, they were just trying to, I think they were trying to make Jameis an attraction more so than trying to put things around him to succeed. In New Orleans, Jameis Winston is just a guy, right? In Tampa, he was the guy. You go to New Orleans, you have a running game. You have an offensive line. You have weapons at the wide receiver position. You have arguably the best wide receiver in football in Michael Thomas. You have a really good route runner and a great pass catcher in Emmanuel Sanders. And you got some young bulls ready to come up. So it's not all on him in order for him to just, all he has to do is just go out there and play his game. Put the ball in the hands of your playmakers. You ain't got to worry about making the play to win the game. You got enough guys on the field to do that. So, like I said, I just think that those type of things matter. I think that Taysom Hill being out there on the field is a promise that Sean Payton made to him. And it's sink or swim. He's putting something on tape. And at the same time, you can fix Jameis Winston issues because let's just be honest about this. Jameis hit the nail on the head week 17 last year of his final game in Tampa. He said, I have what it takes to be the greatest of all time. He said, if I just eliminate these turnovers. And like I said, under Bruce Arians' offense, if you have an issue with turning the ball over, which Jameis has had throughout his college career and his pro career, it's only going to get worse under Bruce Arians. So I think on average, okay, I don't say on average, but I think the most Jameis ever threw was 15 interceptions in the season, right? So under Bruce Arians, it doubled. So let's just say if you were a quarterback and you threw the ball and it was intercepted 7 times. Under Bruce Arians, it's going to turn it to 14 times or 21 times, because you're throwing the ball way too much. So I just think that it's a different situation, man. I think it's a different situation when guys are appointed to be the guy. People are expecting them to just, become all-time great so fast, and they don't put many things behind them. It just sink or swim out there, It's almost like they say in the Navy, right? They say they bring you out there in the middle of the water and they throw you in there and tell you to swim back to shore. It's kind of what they're doing in some of these struggling franchises, and some of these quarterbacks with a lot of potential are paying the price. But thank you all very much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. About to go ahead and read some of the comments. Rudy says Jameis Winston's interceptions came not only from the coaching, but also from tip passes from the wide receivers, but still managed a 5,000-yard and 3 touchdowns. Yeah, that is true. That is true. But I think you got to put that on Jameis and coaching. He did enough to win the game. Did not want to give Falcons film on him. Who that? Let's go to 10-2. Brian, I think there's some validity behind that. But back to what Rudy was saying, and I'll get back to you, Brian. But I think that when you throw the ball in the air, right? It's bound to get intercepted if you put more passes in the air. Okay, the more attempts that you have, the most likely it's going to be intercepted. Okay, so Tampa was throwing the ball all over the place. I mean, it's just ridiculous, man, the way that they just throw the ball all over the place. I mean, it's really no shock value behind it. You know, like everybody knows when they come into Tampa Raymond James Stadium, they're going to throw the football. But the 5,000 yards, you know, to me is almost like empty calories, because if you're throwing a football, it's getting picked off left and right. You're throwing a football to keep yourself in the game, because you probably threw yourself out the game. You probably threw yourself out of the game by throwing all these interceptions, and now you got to throw yourself back into it. It's almost like Dak Prescott, right? You know, Dak Prescott, he played like slow. First half of the game, team down by about two or three touchdowns, and next thing you know, he balling out, throwing the football all over the place for about 400 yards because he's trying to get his team back in the game. So I'm not so much impressed by the 5,000 yards. I'm not. You know, I know that sounds crazy. I mean, 5,000 yards is nothing to sneeze at, but when you're the reason why, you know, like you're the reason why you have to throw all those yards, it's kind of becomes unimpressive to me. Dallas Saints number 1 says, I agree, TJ. Sean seen Jameis daily in practice and he knows what he has, so why throw him out there and repeat the same thing as what happened to Teddy? Look, Sean Payton is a guy who pays attention to detail. We know that, you know, how they say how meticulous he is when it comes to like game planning, like even things in a building. Like he's like meticulous about those type of things. So, and I know he pays attention to detail to a point where if he sees something happening or something trending, then, you know, he'll write it down or memorize it or something like that. And I just think with the whole Jameis Winston thing, I think that he's trying to make sure the same situation doesn't happen that happened with Teddy happens with James. Let's go. Let me go up a little bit. Let me thank y'all so much for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your comments. Your boy Jay says another reason I think the play calling was conservative was to not give the Falcons too much film on him to see what he can do. Your boy Jay, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm not really buying that too much. The Saints already played the Falcons and they blew them out. But I mean, look, you may not have that much film on Taysom like that, but you know the tendencies of those other players. You know what those other players are going to do. So if you can try to neutralize some of those other players, you can still make it hard for Taysom. I mean, he's a quarterback, for God's sake. So his job is to deliver the ball and give the ball to the receivers or the running back. So if you neutralize some of these, these elite players that the Saints have, then it still will make it hard on Taysom. And, you know, if you're looking at the way that the Denver Broncos, you know, playing them defensively, I mean, you do have film on it. So it's not so much about, you know, I mean, you still got film. If a team has if a team is impressive versus a quarterback, trust and believe that coaching staff is going to grab that film and see what made that defense so successful. So the Denver Broncos, I mean, they did neutralize Taysom Hill, and I feel like some of the defensive schemes and some of the way that they're going to play the Saints are going to be because of what Vic Fangio came up with in order to stop them. Like 5,000 yards in a 7-9 season, absolutely, Gerard. You know, that's like with Drew Brees or whatever. You know, I mean, but I would say that Drew Brees' 5,000 yards were more impressive than Jameis, because it wasn't like Drew Brees was throwing us out of the game. Drew Brees was throwing us in the game. It was just our defense was horrible. I feel like it's different. You know, if you're throwing for 5,000 yards and you're throwing interceptions, you're the reason why your team is behind the 8 ball, then, you know, that's your fault. But with Drew Brees was out there balling. He was out there throwing all the touchdowns. It was just the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed at that time. So I do feel like his 5,000 yards are more impressive than Jameis. I'm curious to see what would happen if we have a Winston and Hill backfield and quarterback room. Well, I don't think you're going to see all that. You know, I think you're going to see one or the other. But look, I am a Carson Wentz fan. I really am. I'm a Carson Wentz fan. I don't care what anybody says. You don't forget how to play quarterback. You just, being a quarterback, what I've learned, studying the NFL, college football, confidence is one thing, right? And a belief is another thing. You want to have the confidence that you can go out there and put your team in a position to win every Saturday or every Sunday. But you also want the trust of your coaching staff. And I feel like what Philadelphia did by drafting Jalen Hurts so early in the draft is telling the Philadelphia Eagles, telling Carson Wentz that he's on a short leash, right? That's what it's saying to me. That's what it's telling me. And I'm pretty sure that's what it's telling Carson as well. And if you don't think that your team believes in you, it's going to affect you psychologically. It really is. It's going to affect you psychologically. Now, I know some people are saying, well, what about Green Bay? I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, they drafted Jordan Love in the first round. What does that say? Look, people are wired different, right? Some people play with a chip on their shoulder. When people say that they not good enough, when people write them off, people rise to the occasion. And then you have some people who probably need their ego stroke. They probably not wired that way. And I just feel like with Carson Wentz, I think that he needs a team or, a coaching staff that believes in him. So that's why I feel like he's probably going to end up going to somewhere like Indianapolis, where his old offensive coordinator, Frank Wright, where he had his best seasons. I think he probably going to end up somewhere like that. Or he can end up in New Orleans. And and like I said, it don't matter to me what people think. Like, I I made a video about Carson Wentz. Some of y'all probably seen it. And I know this is the State of the Saints podcast, but I'm talking hypotheticals here. If he came to the New Orleans Saints, I'm telling you, he'll be a league MVP. Like, that's how much talent this guy has. This is how much ability and belief I have in this dude. It's just a system. Like, some guys need a little bit more TLC, right? Like you need that, like, you need that elite play call in your ear. There are some guys that are going to exceed expectations and just ball out regardless. Like, I don't care who the coach is. I don't care who the coordinator is. They're going to ball out because they possess that type of talent. And then you have guys who need that extra touch, who need that extra, that extra push. That person that sees the field right along with them and probably sees it a little bit better than they do. And I feel like with Carson Wentz, he needs a team that believes in him, number one. He also needs a coach that can get him in the right position to succeed. And he needs a coordinator that can see the field just as much as him, if not more. I like him a lot. I really do. I really do like Carson Wentz. No doubt about that. And if he was on a free agent market, he definitely would be one of the guys that I would be interested in being a part of the Saints organization. TJ, what do you think about the loss of the draft pick because of party? I just feel like that was unfair. You see other teams around the NFL, Cole, who have done the same exact thing and nothing really happened to them. I mean, I think the New England Patriots got a $250,000 fine, $250,000. I just feel like, look, if you're going to fine everybody and you're going to take draft picks, there are other videos surfacing as well. So why just stop at the Saints? I feel like it was unfair. Kevin says, so many last-minute touchdowns we gave up over the years. Yeah, so many of them. And hopefully it stops this year. I'm reserving my judgment because that's just the way I roll. Over the last couple of years, I still have faith and belief that the Saints can win the game, but I'm reserving my judgment, man. Like, it to me, I watch the games completely different than I have in years past. In years past, when I see like the Saints go ahead with about 45 seconds left on the clock, I used to get excited. I used to be happy, like, yeah, man, we got this in the bag. But until the clock hit all zeros, that's when I start getting excited. I don't care what the game is. It can be the game next week. It can be the game this week. I kind of just sit back and just analyze and see the game and just be like, okay, whatever happened, it happened. Que sera, sera. But hopefully they can get over these disappointing moments. It looks like they turning a corner, but you never know. Justin says, "What up, TJ? Taysom just gonna have to settle down and make consistent throws. As right now, the media making it seem like he can't throw either." Well, I hate to say it, man. Forget the media. Like I've learned over the last couple weeks that the media likes to spin a lot of things. The media wants to tell their narrative. They want to keep certain people in the press clippings. They want to make people believe that this team is better than this team and they're right, and everybody got an ego, and guys just want to be right and acting as if they never said it. They telling their PR team to delete videos that, they can verify that they said things a couple weeks ago. Look, I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't even pay attention to the media like that anymore. Of course, I watch it because I have to bring it all to the podcast, but I don't look at the media the same way. The media, I think they get off on trying to control the narrative. I mean, it's not about giving you the information that you need. It's not about facts. It's about just making people their puppets. I mean, I don't know. I was watching this movie the other day. If y'all can give me a few minutes. Well, not even the other day. Actually, last night on my break when I was at work. And I was watching this story about the guy named Richard Jewell, right? Some of y'all probably know what I'm talking about. He was the guy who found the bomb at Centennial Park in Atlanta during the Olympics back in 1996. And the guy found he found the bomb. He ended up like saving lives. I think it was only one person that died. 100 people got hurt, but it would have been a lot worse if he didn't find that bomb. So for a couple of days, this guy was like a hero. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was singing his praises and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, people just started to like question this guy because he was a little bit weird. And the media just turned this guy into the suspect and had everybody like thinking this dude was the bomber and ruined this guy's life. Ruined this guy's life completely. It ruined this guy's life. Guy was out there, couldn't go nowhere. People was looking at him sideways. And it turns out the dude didn't even do it, But the media had already, made him guilty in a court of public opinion. But I say that to say this, it's not even about the facts. It's about controlling the narrative. It's about making people believe what they believe. And they get off on that type of stuff. They do. They get off on it. And that's why, I try not to, these days, I try not to take myself so serious. I don't try to take myself so serious. That's why, like, it was a time, and I'm still working on it. But for the most part, I try not to let it get to me. But it used to be a time where somebody would come to me and say something, oh, you said this about the Saints. You don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. You need to quit your show or get off the podcast. You don't know what you're talking about. But... I don't take myself as serious, right? I feel like if you don't take yourself as serious, it won't bother you as much. People are so focused on trying to be right and trying to be so correct, and they attach their credibility to hot takes. Why? Everybody just. At the end of the day, we don't know. If, the Saints playing the Falcons this weekend. We don't know if the Saints gonna beat the Falcons. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? We hope that they do, but we don't know for sure. We can do prediction and be like, man, the Saints going to win, I don't know, 31-16. We don't know if that's true or not. We just give our opinions about how the game going to go. And I feel like anybody that's taking their opinions further than, and trying to make it gospel, like, that's why I feel like, that's when you feel like you just kind of lost yourself. I would love to save 4 games and allow only 1 touchdown, but against a QB-less Broncos, it's hard to brag on that one. Yeah. Look, I don't know, man. All I know is They won a football game. And it's not like Taysom Hill is going to be like the quarterback for the foreseeable future. We just need him to steer the ship until number 9 get back. That's what we need. It'll be one thing if Drew Brees retired and, we would be having these issues. Then maybe it'll be a little bit more of a issue or, be a little bit more, I guess, sense of urgency going on here. But we just need him to steer the ship. I think we'll be okay. Taysom definitely has an arm. He just has to work on being on point with his throws down the field. Yeah, but that comes with practice. It's one thing to practice this stuff in practice, but to actually do it in a real-time game when somebody trying to take your head off is completely different. And I just feel like he needs to work on that. While this is true, my point is don't take any team for granted. Otherwise, they'll stomp a mud hole in us. Yep, that's true, Rudy. I mean, look at the Falcons last week, right? Falcons lost to the Saints. They only scored 9 points, came back, scored 44 on the Raiders. I feel like 2 things happened in that game. Number 1, you see a prideful Atlanta Falcons team that was ready to ball out, and you seen a Las Vegas Raiders team. You seen a Las Vegas Raiders team who looked at the Saints game last week and said, man, we about to go out here and sack this dude about 20 times. So it was one team that underestimated a team, and you had another team that was playing for pride at that particular moment. So, never know. I don't know any other team like the Saints. The Saints are battle-tested, and through it all, they keep fighting. Yeah, I mean, this is the most battle-tested team in the league. I mean, nobody has broken our hearts more than the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs over the past 3 to 4 years. It's unbelievable. So, this team definitely is battle-tested. In my Mike Gundy voice, that's why I don't listen to the media, because it's garbage. Like I said, man, it's about controlling the narrative, man. And I've met like my fair share of like radio personality, TV personalities in my lifetime, and I don't know, man. Like, I don't care like where I go in this world. I don't care where God places me as far as like being successful. I would never like be that person. I don't understand why. Like you see people walking around like arrogant, cocky, because you're on television, because you got your radio show, walk past people and make it seem like these people don't exist, and I don't want to be like that. I never wanted to be like that. And the only thing I want to do is just make people happy, and make myself happy in the process by making others happy. You have people out here that do their shows and treat people like straight garbage and get mad when people, correct them and pretend like they didn't say certain things and move the goalpost. And like I said, man, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. And I don't feel like you got no place for it. Like, at the end of the day, like I said, we're all giving our opinions. The media has been saying we are going to lose the past 4 weeks. It's becoming laughable at this point because we're not a part of the agenda. Understand that, Who Dat Nation. We're not a part of the agenda. We are not a part of the agenda. We are not a part of the status quo. They do not want us here. I mean, it's just a fact. They do not want us here. There's nothing attractive about the Saints to the media. Okay? You look at it from a history standpoint. The Saints don't have a history of winning. You look at it from a quarterback standpoint. It's not really appealing, even though Drew Brees has been efficient and good over the last couple of years. You look at all these things, man, it's like they like flash. They like sizzle. They like pizzazz, right? When Patrick Mahomes like throwing no-look passes and you got Aaron Rodgers flicking his wrist and all that kind of stuff, throwing his side on. That's what they want to see. They want to see that. They feel like that's exciting. You look at Tom Brady winning 6 Super Bowls and have the supermodel wife. That's exciting. But you look at Drew Brees. I mean, Drew Brees is probably the closest you're probably going to get to a politician in the National Football League. Really no scandal. I mean, been with his wife since college, got 4 kids, says all the right things, does all the right things. Like boring. Throws the ball down the field, about 15, 20 yards, but get to the goal line for a touchdown. Boring, right? He ain't throwing the ball 60 yards. Boring. We're not a part of that. We're not a part of the media agenda. So we just have to deal with it. So they're going to try to find ways to try to discredit us or make us, look like we're going to lose or not going to do anything. Taysom hesitation on a blown screen pass to AK-41 proved everything I needed to know, and regardless of his confidence, coach got after him for that. Yep, 4 seasons into the system, bro. No excuses. I mean, he might not ever be what we want him to be. He may not. He may not be who we want him to be. But like I said, how are we looking at Taysom Hill? How are we looking at him? How are we looking at him, folks? That's all I want to know, right? We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back in a second.
Hey, this is TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and I want to take a minute to tell you about POW Audio. Now, POW Audio is going to change your listening experience. You're probably asking yourself, TJ, how is POW Audio going to change my listening experience? Because POW Audio has a revolutionary design, delivers a crystal clear and powerful sound in a collapsible Bluetooth speaker. That's right, collapsible Bluetooth speaker, and is designed for ultimate portability. So check out facebook.com, search POW Audio, or on their website, powaudio.com. That's POW audio.com.
Yeah, we back here on the State of the Saints podcast. Sorry, folks, I had to get me something to drink. Throat a little dry. You have that dry cough. You ain't have no water or something like that. You feel like your throat dry, so you still having that dry cough. That's what I'm having. All right, so anyway, but yeah, folks, look, we can break down X's and O's all day. We can talk about, game film. Y'all know that's really not my lane, I just like to keep it real here on the State of the Saints podcast. I answer the questions, give my opinion. You all give your opinion. That's kind of what it's all about. We talking about these issues with Taysom Hill. Cornelius says he's Tebow 2.0. That's how. Okay. You're entitled to opinion, Cornelius. I don't know what he is. I don't know exactly what Taysom Hill is, but wherever he is, we're glad to have him as a New Orleans Saint. Taysom Hill has been really good in the Saints uniform, and he is a matchup nightmare because teams really have to, they have to have a game plan for him. But the Saints line him up in so many different ways, it's hard to zero in on him. So we are spoiled because of Drew. We have to understand that. That's true. All these years of great quarterback play, all these years of touchdowns, all these years of great moments, all these years of credibility. And if you've been a Saints fan longer than 15 years, you know that the Saints have not been that good. And I know that a lot of our emotions come from that particular point. I'm 34 years old. I can remember during the time when the Saints weren't that good, right? In the early mid-90s, when the Saints sucked. When Mario Bates and Ray Zellis was running the football. When you had when you had Jim Everett as your quarterback, when you had the Billy Joes as your quarterback, when you had Danny Warfel. And I get it, man. We basically had to, tuck our heads into the ground. Because we were so embarrassed at this team. And I think some of that stuff carries over into the future, and we don't want to feel like that anymore because 15 years of talking crow, 15 years of legitimacy, 15 years of being able to be in the middle of the barbershop talks, whether you're in New Orleans or you're in another state, being displaced by Katrina. You're still able to sit up in a barbershop and say, man, my team, the Saints. and be proud to say that. At one time it wasn't like that. So I get why people are like so skeptical and concerned about the quarterback play and concerned about the wide receiver play and concerned about the running backs and concerned about the defense at times, because we don't want to go back to those moments. We don't want to be in the land of obscurity. So in certain ways, that's the reason why I feel, that's why I kind of understand the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan bases for jumping out of the windows the way that they did. Look, it's funny, that they did that, but I completely understand. When you go all those years of not being relevant, when a team does something to generate excitement, you want to hold on to that excitement and you never want to let it go. But we also have to be realistic. We also have to understand that quarterbacks like Drew Brees don't grow on trees. Quarterbacks like Drew Brees are not in the league all the time, okay? You can go and look at some of these other teams around here, all across the NFL. You're probably not going to find any quarterback that resembles Drew Brees. You probably have him resemble him in height, probably arm strength, but his way of thinking, his accuracy, his ability to throw players open, his ability to put players in positions to succeed, it comes around every blue moon. And I just think that we are spoiled by the play of Drew Brees to a point where we don't even know how to fully evaluate a quarterback. We don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks anymore. It's almost like it's almost like if you were dating someone and you were dating someone and y'all kind of did some things. You went out and you went out every other weekend. Or, y'all probably took a trip. Went to a nice little hotel every now and then. But then you meet that other person. And y'all going out every week, and you're going to these nice places, and you're traveling, and you're going to all these places that you never seen. And all of a sudden, I don't know, you break up. And then you go back to this other person, you go back to, or go to another person, and they want to do something, pretty mediocre. You're like, man, hold on now. I was taking trips. I was going to these 5-star restaurants. Man, I was out here living a good life. You know what I'm saying? I was out here living my best life. Like, I ain't about to sit up here with you. It changes the way that we think. So we evaluating quarterbacks completely different because of the great and stellar quarterback play that we've had over the past 15 years. So if we're looking at a play on 3rd and 7, Taysom Hill throws the ball over the head of Michael Thomas, what are we thinking? Well, on 3rd and 7, man, Drew would have completed that pass. Well, he's not Drew Brees. He's not Drew. He is not Drew. So it's not fair to Taysom for us to compare him to Drew Brees. It's not fair to Jameis to compare him to Drew Brees. And that's the reason why I feel like we're on the fence, and we were on the fence with people like Teddy Bridgewater, right? Because we had such stellar quarterback play. So if you've been a fan for the Saints for 15 years and somebody else comes through the door and they're not, throwing a ball, completing 72% of their passes, if they're not having a high quarterback rating, they're not throwing passes to Michael Thomas left and right, throwing them open, then we're like, man, we don't want that. But there's only one Drew Brees, folks. We have to understand that. There's only one. And once he leaves, man, I don't care who it is. It's going to be a great drop-off at the quarterback position. Sean Payton said the game plan changed 24 hours before the game, after it was known after Denver's quarterback situation. They backed off and Taysom played like he was instructed to. Well, Lynette, I agree that he did back off, but did he back off when he threw that pass in double coverage with Jared Cook? Did he back off when he threw that pass and it was intercepted? Did he back off when he hesitated to throw the ball in the flat to Alvin Kamara that would have went yard? What about that play, when Marquez Callaway was open? So, look, he did run a game. He did play the game plan, but let's not pretend like there weren't opportunities that Sean Payton gave Taysom to throw the football, and it didn't look good. All right? So, like I said, we can talk about like better days ahead, which I feel like there are some better days ahead for Taysom. But I'm not going to pretend like there weren't some opportunities that he didn't take advantage of. I think that we would be, I think we'll be pretty naive. No disrespect to anybody, but I'm even including myself. I think we all would be naive if we didn't look at some of those issues. Arians loves the long arm bomb, and for a quarterback rating is suicidal, but seems to see this now that Brady is in the system. Well, the thing about it is, Lagbeat, the thing about it is, people always knew this about it, but it's almost like because it's Tom Brady, it's amplified, right? Depends on the situation, depends on the team, things are amplified, right? For example, if the Cleveland Browns were like 4-7, nobody would care, right? Nobody would care because they're the Cleveland Browns. They're known for losing, right? But now you look at the Dallas Cowboys. Now everything just amplified. It's terrible. Everything horrible and Big D, right? Because of the situation, because of the circumstance. Like you said, Tom Brady. But everybody knew this. Everybody knew this about Bruce Arians. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. If you are a person that is big on analytics, anybody that has watched them, if you're a Steelers fan, if you're a Colts fan, if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, like you know that this guy does not put his quarterbacks in positions to succeed. He just does not. And I've said this. I've said this for weeks. That is why when Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans would come into the State of the Saints podcast and they wanted to get a rise out of us, I was never rattled nor shaken. And I even said it on several occasions that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will never, I'm telling you, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will never win anything with Bruce Arians. I'm telling you, they will never win anything with Bruce Arians. And I know that. And you should know it. Bruce Arians is a modern day Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher would get opportunities and keep his job, and you like, why? Why is he here? Why did he keep his job? It's like certain people that I just wonder to myself, like, how do they keep getting jobs? Like Lane Kiffin. Like, how do you keep getting jobs? Jeff Fisher, how did he keep his job in Tennessee so long? Bruce Arians, like, what has he done in order for him to keep getting jobs? Like, he a quarterback whisperer. Who gave him that title? The media? Somebody just put that in a newspaper and somebody like, yeah, okay, quarterback, okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go with that. Like, who gave these guys this title? And you know what I'm saying? It's like, God bless his soul, but it's like John McCain, they used to call him the Maverick. Like, all of a sudden, like, everybody in Congress started calling him Maverick. Like, okay, where did that come from? Why is he a Maverick? When you think about it at the end of the day. Why is Bruce Arians the quarterback whisperer? Why is this keeping him with a job? But like I said, I want him to keep him. Just like I wanted the Falcons to keep Dan Quinn or, Mike Smith. Keep him. Because it's going to make the Saints better, and keep winning the division over and over again. Because these guys can't get out of their own way. Even with Sean Payton, you know what I'm saying? Like, Sean Payton, his biggest issue over the years is not being able to get out of his own way. But as you notice, like in the last few seasons, he has been trying to commit more to the running game. He has fixed his offensive line to be a run-dominant offensive line more so than a pass-protecting offensive line. Because he understands that number 9 is not going to play forever. Bruce Arians will try to make his offense work regardless of if it's successful or not. And that has been the issue with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers since he has gotten there. And it will continue to be the issue. You got 2 stud running backs. But I ain't going to say nothing, man. I'm not going to give the game. I'm not going to give the game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but everybody know what it is. Everybody know what it is, man. Look, Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, if you up in this thing, y'all know what it is. You can't even dispute that. You can't. We don't need to have another Drew Brees, although it would be nice. We just need to have a quarterback that's good. A quarterback that can keep the Saints in the Super Bowl contender category. I want the Saints to be in the same category the media talks about. Media thinks Breeze and Payton are the only reason the Saints are good. Yeah, Casey, I mean, because that has been the narrative. And we just finished talking about narratives, right? Guys take titles and they just run with them. They don't even look and see if that has changed or not, right? It's just, Saints, Drew Brees, Sean Payton. Many years, New England, Belichick, Brady. Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers. Chicago, Monsters of the Midway. It's like things change around the teams. They develop. There are different nuances to the team, but they keep that same stigma. And I say let them, Casey. I let them keep talking. Let them keep thinking that this team is surrounded by just average, middle of the pack type players, and they're not good because because of Sean Payton and Drew Brees. But what they're not telling you is that the Saints are 7-0 when somebody outside of Drew Brees starts. So why are they 7-0? It's because of Sean Payton. But you look at some of these other guys. You're looking at Brian Flores, right? You're looking at Mike Tomlin. You're looking at all these other coaches, right? Before you even get to Sean Payton. But in my opinion, the last 2 years has probably been some of the best coaching Sean Payton has done in his entire career with the New Orleans Saints. When you can take guys who are not named Drew Brees and still put them in a position to succeed. When you can take a guy like Teddy Bridgewater and get him paid. When you can take a guy like Jameis Winston and try to resurrect his career. When you can take a quarterback with a messed up shoulder and turn him into a surefire Hall of Famer, why not give Sean Payton credit? Why not give him the credit for being a good coach? If anything, I would have to say Sean Payton is the main reason for the Saints being successful over these last few years. I think we got to give him credit for that. But I say let him keep talking. I mean, this team is loaded. This might be the most complete team in the National Football League. Anytime your left tackle goes out, James Hurst comes in the middle of the week, and he still does a formidable job. You got Andrew Speed out, and then you got Nick Easton come right back in, and the running game don't miss a beat. Come on, man. Unfortunately, being conservative costs some missed opportunities for Taysom. It depends, Robert. I mean, what opportunities are we talking about here? Opportunities to throw the ball, or him opportunities to make plays in other ways. I would have to understand what you meant by that. But look, the key is to win a game. Okay, if we just talking about conservative cost of him opportunity for us to evaluate him, I can live without that. I can live without evaluating Taysom Hill as a quarterback, as long as a win come with it. Nate Robinson. I don't know exactly what that means, but we all know what happened to Nate. Out to physical therapy. Thank SOTS. Okay, Charles, man. Good luck with that. Take care of yourself. Kevin says Tom Brady is great, but he is the best system quarterback to ever play the game. Yeah, he is. I mean, look, man. Tom Brady is a great quarterback. Okay, I feel like people say that he's the greatest of all time because of the number of Super Bowls that he won. And look, if I was to say, I would say that Drew Brees is the greatest quarterback of all time. I would say that Tom Brady is the greatest winner of all time. That's what I would say. In NFL, I would say he's the greatest winner of all time. But as far as that, with Drew Brees, would Drew Brees have 6 Super Bowls if he was in New England? Absolutely. He would absolutely have 6 Super Bowls. Probably have more than that, Did you watch Nate fight? I seen him get knocked out. I don't know about no fight. I seen him get put to sleep. But I did see it, man. I mean, that was entertaining. I must say this, though. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones didn't really live up to expectations. I guess if you lowered your expectations, I think it would have been fine because, 2 50-year-old guys going at it, then, what can you expect? But I think if it wasn't for that Nate Robinson fight, I think a lot of people would have been disappointed. I think the fact that he got put to sleep really Made people feel like they got their $50 worth. You know, I'm sorry that Nate had to deal with that, but I mean, he kind of saved that pay-per-view in my eyes. Denver has a strong defense. Just because the offense wasn't there doesn't mean it was going to be a cakewalk offensively. Well, I never thought that. I mean, I've said that in predictions leading into the game. Leading into the game, I told everybody it's not going to be an easy game. I said that team has a lot of pride over there, and they did. I think Raheem Morris will do great things for Atlanta and will make the rivalry series and the division a lot more interesting. Rudy, look, I like Raheem Morris. I really do, man. Look, I'm not trying to make this a color thing, but I do root for, the African-American quarterback, African-American coaches, because I feel like they need more of those guys in the league. I really feel like Raheem Morris should have got another opportunity to be a head coach. And in Atlanta, it seems to me like these guys love this guy, because if they didn't, they wouldn't care, man. Like, they wouldn't be out here playing. These guys would be like Cancun on 3. But they're really trying to put it together and try to put a good body of work for Raheem Morris and a good campaign for him to keep this job. And, if Arthur Blank, if you don't have anybody else, that's coming, then, I say go with Raheem Morris. If the coach that you're not trying to get isn't named Jim Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh is one. I know people like, man, look what he's doing in Michigan. Look, some guys are better NFL coaches than college coaches. And some guys are better college coaches than NFL coaches. Case in point, Nick Saban. Nick Saban was a horrible NFL coach, but he's a really good college coach. So I think Jim Harbaugh is one of those guys that's kind of the opposite. So if you're not trying to get Jim Harbaugh, if you're not trying to get Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma, or you're not trying to get Robert Sealer from the 49ers, then why not Raheem Morris? Or you can say Eric Bieniemy too. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not getting one of those guys, and most likely, if I can pick out of the 4 I just named, if it ain't Bieniemy and it ain't Harbaugh, then why not Raheem Morris? Because it seems to me like these guys are playing for this guy and they want this guy to possibly be their next head coach. But I don't know. I don't know. TJ, I could have said that better myself. I don't know exactly. I guess you were talking about the fight. I guess you're talking about the fight, Kevin. Or something else I said, but I appreciate it. Top coaches in the league: Payton, Reed, Carroll, Belichick, Tomlin. I don't know if I'll go in that order. I will put Andy Reid before Sean Payton. No disrespect to Sean Payton, but Andy Reid, the only thing that was stopping him from being in that conversation or being above the rest was a Super Bowl championship, in which he got. Rather you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan or not, or a Chiefs fan or not, you have to respect Andy Reid. Andy Reid is probably one of the most respectable head coaches in the league, and a guy that I think all of us were rooting for in the Super Bowl. Once the Saints, got out of playoff, was kicked out of the playoffs, I became an Andy Reid fan because I wanted to see him win one, because that was the only thing stopping him from really taking a trip to Canton. And, like I said, I would put Andy Reid first. I'll put Sean Payton second. I'll put Mike Tomlin third. I'll put Pete Carroll fourth. And I don't know the other person. I can't remember the other person that you named, but most likely they'll be last. Well, no. What am I doing? No, I'll put Belichick first. I'm sorry. I'll put Belichick first. I'll put Andy Reid second. Sean Payton third. Mike Tomlin fourth. Pete Carroll fifth. That's what I do. Okay, yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking with that. Heck yeah, Bill Belichick is the greatest NFL coach of all time. Hands down, without a shadow of a doubt. I know when you say Tom Brady is the greatest winner, and Drew, oh yeah, that's what it is. Tom Brady is a winner. Can't dispute that. But just because you win all the time don't mean you great. Don't mean you greater than everybody. That just means you won more than anybody. I I mean, Robert Ory got 7 NBA championships, but does that make him better than Michael Jordan? You know? I guess, you probably just thinking to yourself, well, Robert Ory was just a role player. Tom Brady was a star, but, that's the way I look at it, man, Whoa, lost my live feed somehow. I wonder why TJ started repeating himself. Probably because I started repeating myself. Probably. No certain order. Okay, Willie. Okay. But that would be my order, the one I just already read. That I've been rooting for Andy since him and Vic hooked up. Yeah, man. Great human being, man. Like you gotta cheer for Andy Reid. And you gotta cheer for the guy. Rudy says, what do you think would happen if Tom Brady were drafted by the Saints in 2000? I think Sean Payton would have probably not been out here until 06, and we probably would have won the Super Bowl. No, I disagree with that. Because during that time, you had Jim Haslett as your head coach, and Jim Haslett was a defensive-minded coach. The offense wasn't, as efficient. So I don't know. Like, it's about the right connection. It's about the right coach quarterback connection. That's what it's about. So you can have, like I said, you can have all the talent in the world. It's like Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen has like great arm talent, huge arm, right? But he don't have the right coordinator. It means jack. Me personally, I still feel like he leaves a lot to be desired. So who's to say, like, if they didn't go out here and get a really good offensive coordinator, how great this guy could be? This guy could be like the next Jim Kelly, what they want him to be. He can be that guy. If Andy Reid didn't go to Kansas City, how good would Patrick Mahomes be? He can have all this arm talent, but look, if he doesn't have any direction, how good is he going to be? So just because, Sean Payton, just because Tom Brady was great in New England, don't mean he would have been great for the Saints or any other team. It's about putting this guy in the right position to succeed. Tiffany says, no need to overreact. I believe Taysom did what was asked of him. One game tells us nothing. Well, I agree with that, Tiffany. I don't think one game is going to tell you anything about a player. I just think that we haven't seen a larger sample size. And I think that's one of the main reasons why people are so frustrated, because they want to see more out of him. I think they want him to come out the gate throwing 4 and 5 touchdowns and be like, look, it's undeniable. This guy's going to be the future of the team. But look, I don't know if Taysom's going to be the future of the team. And honestly, at this point, I don't care. The only thing I care about is the Saints winning, staying atop the NFC, winning the NFC South, going into the playoffs, and not seeing some of the same ridiculous mistakes that I've seen in the playoffs over the past 3 years. And if they can do that, then I'll be fine. If they can't do that, then, what are we talking about? We can, I don't care, because it's irrelevant right now. It is absolutely irrelevant, folks. It is irrelevant that if we find out about Taysom Hill and him being the future of the Saints. Because we all know that Drew Brees is still on the roster. And as long as Drew Brees is on the roster, then, Taysom Hill don't matter. No disrespect to him. As a quarterback, he does not matter. Jameis Winston as a quarterback, he does not matter. Not at this point. Now, next year, if Drew Brees has a press conference and he announces his retirement, then maybe we can start having these type of conversations. But I don't think that we're going to see anything. I don't think that Sean Payton is going to be like, look, man, we got our quarterback. I don't think that ever going to come out of his mouth this season. And I think all of this right now is just speculation. What we need from Taysom is just for him to limit his mistakes, go out there, run the game plan, put the ball in the hands of the playmakers, and let it ride, and let's just keep on stacking up these dubs. That's all we need. I don't care if they win it by a field goal. I don't care if they just win it by a safety, they sack a quarterback in the back of the end zone. I can care less. As long as the Saints have a good record going into the playoffs and keeping that number one seed and that and keeping the NFC South championship rolling, and getting that in that wild card home game. That's all that matters to me, or a first round bye. Man, TJ, I won't lie. I'm still depressed about that no pass interference call against the Rams. We would be sitting with 2 Super Bowls under Breeze and Payton right now. We would have scored more than 13 points against Brady. Yeah, we would have scored more points. But like I said, man, I mean, that's over. We can't have that back. We can't go back to that moment. We don't have a DeLorean. None of us are Michael J. Fox or Christopher Lloyd, so we can't go back in time. But the only thing we can do is, man, right the wrong by going and winning a championship or being a contender, or being a championship contender, or even being in a spot, putting yourself in a position to be a champion. That's what it's all about, And they have opportunity, man. I look at this NFC, and no disrespect to no team, but I don't see no world beaters out here. I don't see nobody that can just separate themselves from the rest of the pack. Not even, I hate to say it, not even the Saints. They're doing a good job defensively, but I'm not fully convinced that a team can't roll into town and beat the Saints. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like an equal playing field. Green Bay, equal playing field. Seattle's an equal playing field. Everybody to me. You know what I'm saying? Even the Buccaneers, they can, they can put up points. So it's an equal playing field. Do I feel like more confident about the Saints? Yes, I really do. This is the year that we can get the playoff performances that we've been looking for, like those dominant football performances that most teams have going into the Super Bowl. Like when teams make that playoff run, right? When teams make that playoff run, and you automatically just start to see like that one team just kind of emerge, and they just head and shoulders better than the rest. You look at the San Francisco 49ers, running the ball down the throats of the Vikings, running the ball down the throats of Green Bay. Just basically impose their will. Strip these guys butt naked on the field. You know what I'm saying? Left them with absolutely nothing. Clean these boys like buzzards, clean deer off the side of the road. Pick them to the bone. It was, without a shadow of a doubt, the 49ers were the best team in football representing the NFC at that time. And then you had the Kansas City Chiefs, who started slow, but in the second half, just imposed their will. Offensively, they were a juggernaut, leading the AFC into going to the Super Bowl. That's what I think we're looking for as Saints fans. I feel like the games be way too nip-tuck. They be way too close, man. Too many mistakes. Let this be the year where we just be like, okay, the Saints are that team. They are that team that we wanted them to be. Pat Mahomes is a system quarterback. Well, he in the right system, I can tell you that. Still too soon. Hi, what's going on? Dubstep. Saints, 79-13, NFC South says the refs, the only ones who can stop us in the playoffs. Yeah, that in bad play calling. And bad execution. Let's see. Green Bay and Seattle, thank you very much for the $2. Said, don't sleep on us, punks. We threats too. Yeah, they definitely a threat. Willie says the Minneapolis Miracle was just that, a miracle. The pass interference no call was out of our hands. The last year was the only game we straight lost. Speaking on the last 3 years. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That game last year, we deserve to lose that game. Do we think Breeze is back on the Week 15 game? He approved for Week 14, right? Well, look, I think you play it the way that you see the team playing. If you have like a certain timeline in which he can come back, and let's just say, for example, the team is rolling, just let him heal up completely. I don't want Drew Brees to just be almost healed. I want him to be completely healed before he hit the field. Gotta went out to be completely ahead of Green Bay and Seattle, 2 losses, and we'll be playing with the loss of the 1 seed and a bye week. Just saying. Yeah, we definitely got to stay on top of that. We definitely do. If that system is winning, who cares? Yeah, I don't understand. I never understood the concept of how a system quarterback is such a derogatory phrase or statement. I never understood that. Like, why is calling someone a system quarterback so disrespectful? I mean, maybe somebody can explain that to me. I don't look at it as disrespectful. I think that, if you're in a right system, I mean, you can be great. So, don't bother me. Who that, TJ? My wife and I recently adopted my son, and I'm so blessed to have him, but even more excited to dress him in Saints gear. Herman, man, congratulations to you and your wife, man, and what you guys are doing is absolutely incredible, man, because, I think sometimes we tend to forget, man, about some of these young kids out here who are abandoned, by their parents, or, they might be born to a person that can't take care of them, and, they get lost in the system. So, man, shouts out to all the parents out here that adopt children, giving them stable homes, giving them a future, giving them a chance. I think about that from time to time, what happened if my mama, didn't want to have me or didn't want to take me. I mean, my mom wasn't rich, I mean, we were poor. I can remember, like, just certain days, some of the things that, mom had to do. Like, she used to have a friend, that worked at a deli. And, we used to be, like, so poor. She'd, like, go to the deli and the guy would be nice enough to give her, like, neck bone or something like that, in order for us to cook a stew or, just stuff like that, man. I mean, we had some dark times. My mom, like, wore the same shoes for, like, 3 years, and because, she couldn't afford to get herself any shoes. But she took care of us, man. She showed us love. I mean, she kept us out of trouble. She told us right from wrong. She told us to put God first in our life. And, I'm out here talking to y'all right now. I'm a college graduate. I've never been to jail, never been on drugs. None of my brothers or my sister have. So, but I think about that. She could have easily just said, I have 2 other sons, that I can barely take care of. I don't know if I can keep this one right here. But she did. You know what I'm saying? She took care of me. So shouts out to all of these parents out here, man, that's doing that, adopting kids, giving these kids opportunities, and putting them in a position where they can just, have that love, man. Because, man, that stuff can mess with you psychologically, man. That can mess with you psychologically. And not only are you adopting that kid, you're saving their lives. You're saving their lives. So, what are the Saints' chances of this season to be a number 1 seed in the NFC? I think their chances are good as long as they continue to play the way they've been playing. I think they'll be all right. I think this is a year we let Azalone walk and re-sign Quan. Well, yeah, I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point. Thank your mama for us. Well, I appreciate that, man. I'm pretty sure she's listening right now. She probably can't respond right now because she's doing the little virtual classes. She got young students at a learning center, and they're doing virtual classes at a center. But yeah, I thank God for my mom, man. Like, she's an incredible person. Some of y'all probably seen her in the chat a couple times on the show. But man, she's an awesome mom, man. There was some dark days. We didn't grow up with a silver spoon in our mouth, man. We were poor. We were on food stamps. We had to live off the government and stuff like that. But she always told us and taught us there were better days ahead. And like I said, man, she could have easily just given us up. She could have easily just said, nah, my mom had dreams. My mom had a dream to be a journalist. My mom was and still is. My mom was a writer, she was a writer, and, she had opportunity, man, to go she had an opportunity to go to college in New York. And she ended up having my older brother, EJ. And, man, she gave that all up. You know what I'm saying? She gave it all up to be a parent, you know, to my big brother, Emmanuel, you know. So that's the type of person she is, man. And if you ever see her to this day, man, I'm 34 years old. Like, she still treat me like I'm 5. Yeah, but I love my mom, man. No doubt about that. And I love all of you, too, man. Real talk. You know, much love to all of you spending your day and your morning with me. TJ, how do you feel about Troutman getting more playing time than Jared Cook these past few games? I don't think he got more playing time, but I like the way he's improving as a pass blocker. And I think he's trending in the right direction. So, anytime he get the ball, good things happen. You know, he got the ball last week and almost scored. Saints defense must stay dominant. I agree with that. Yeah. As long as they stay dominant, I mean, I don't care who the quarterback is. As long as they stay the way they is. Green Bay gonna get the first seed most likely if we don't go 13-3. Yeah. Let's see. Shout out to Mama Jones. Yeah, man. Shouts out to my mama. Already, you know, I gotta already say that. Let's see. Week 15. Thank you very much for the $2. Says Breeze will be back when when I come around. Trust. Yeah, thank you for the $2. Week 15. I really do appreciate that. No doubt about it. I think I had another one. Let's see. I'll get back to you, Willie. The Super Chats, thank you very much for $2. Says, stop skipping me, fool. I don't know if I skipped one. If I did, I apologize. I don't think I did. I think I'm pretty much caught up. I'm all over the place on this, man. So I'm strolling up and down. So if I go down a little further, don't be surprised if I go back up and read somebody comment. Let's see. Shout out Mama Jones. Yeah, man. Shouts out to Moms once again. Willie says, I'm concerned the Falcons are going to put the pressure on Taysom Hill and cause him to turn the ball over, fumble, interception. Well, if he does, then you live and you learn, right? I mean, you can't become better if you don't make mistakes. Let's all pay respects to Mama Jones. Yeah, man. Like I said, shouts out to my mom. She, great person. If Taysom's career with the Saints is like it was at BYU, that won't surprise me. If he likely gets hurt, he'll have a good backup quarterback who passes it up. Well, I just hope he don't get hurt, man. I don't want to see him get hurt. I mean, he had 4 season-ending surgeries. I don't want him to do that. Taysom Hill over under 0.5 touchdown passes this Sunday. I don't know, man. I think he might throw one. Jared Cook has fell off even before Drew went out. Look, I think he had 2 bad games, and when Drew got hurt, he never got a chance to redeem himself. So, look, I'm giving him a pass. I'm giving Jared Cook a pass because he really didn't have a chance to kind of redeem himself after those games. And everybody have bad games, man. Everybody have a bad stretch. So he didn't have an opportunity to redeem himself, and I highly doubt if he's going to redeem himself with Taysom Hill as a quarterback. Mama Jones, thank you very much for the $2. Says, I'm with y'all mom should have been, you punks. Nah, man. No, shouts out to my mom, man, but I'm pretty sure they have some really great moms up in here as well. So, I ain't about to just say my mom's just the only great mom up in this thing, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people believe the same thing that I'm saying. I mean, I love my mom and a lot of respect to her and stuff like that, but there's some incredible mothers out here in this world that are doing some great things for their children as well. And shouts out to all of you. And I already know because I'm married to one of them, Shouts out to my wife, who's been a mom for about, 18 months and knock it out of the park, man. Incredible. Saints 7-9-13 NFC South says Taysom Hill needs to throw first touchdown pass before Drew is back. Yeah, that would be nice, right? That would definitely be nice. Atlanta would definitely probably have a different game plan this time around. I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta decides to blitz him all game. Yeah, man. I mean, Denver showed that you can't be successful blitzing Taysom. That's what they showed you. So, yeah. So I would. Quan was the missing element. If he stays healthy, we will be fine. Tight ends have killed us in big games and in the playoffs. Real talk. Yeah, well, I think Malcolm Jenkins being there will help. Also, C.J. Garner-Johnson, Patrick Robinson playing pretty well. So, and also you got DJ Swearinger too, man. So I mean, it's not like we going in kind of shorthanded this year. And I just hope everybody can stay healthy, man. I just hope that's why I was so nervous about Janoris Jenkins, and I'd be highly surprised if he played this Sunday. I wouldn't let him play. I mean, I'm just being serious. I wouldn't ask of him to play. We gonna need him down the stretch. Like, no disrespect to Marshawn Lattimore. I think he playing at a higher level than Marshawn Lattimore right now as a corner. Janoris Jenkins is playing otherworldly. I mean, Marshawn is playing pretty well too these last few games, but Janoris Jenkins is on another level right now, and we need all of these dudes. We need all of them. We need all of them. So put your mask on and stop losing draft picks. Yeah, man. Yeah, social media, man. They'll tell on you. The feds are indeed watching. I can see Winston playing this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Payton pulls another surprise. It won't surprise me either. I think he's gonna get some snaps. We lose if we go on a shootout with Matt Ryan. Hill can't keep up. Well, you got Jameis on the bench, so wouldn't be surprised if I see Jameis playing in this game. Might see him do some snaps. I just want Jameis to shoot it out with the Chiefs. I don't. Because if he does a good job, then what's going to happen if Drew Brees retires? You got to think about that, folks. Look, it's not the end of the world if the Saints lose. If the Saints lose like one of these games down the stretch. You know, if they lose 1 or 2 games down the stretch, it's still not a bad thing. It's not the end of the world. I don't look at, like I said, I don't look at home field advantage the same way I looked at it years past. You know, the Saints have number 1 seed with a team coming into the Superdome with no crowd, 6,000 people. Ooh, that's intimidating. You know, it's not like 63,000, 65,000 screaming Saints fans in the Superdome and you coming into here in the divisional round. It's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, you playing on the road, you basically playing with no crowd. You know, so home field advantage don't really have the same like type of advantage like it had years past. So if the Saints don't get home field advantage, like, it's not like they can't go on the road and win. You know, what's the difference? I mean, you look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was able to do a snap count. You know what I'm saying? He was able to do a hard count in a Superdome. Like, you think he can do that with 65,000 people? Heck no. So to me, man, it's just, you know, a glorified training camp or a scrimmage game. You know, the most disciplined team gonna win. It's not about crowd noise, and not this year. It's not. I'm gonna read a few more, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. Gardner Johnson got dogging him like Patrick Beverly. Yeah, he definitely a Patrick Beverly of the team. Definitely, that is a great example, because that's exactly who he reminds me of. Where would the Saints be without Michael Thomas? Let's see, how many games Michael Thomas has been back? Was it like his second game back, third game? I mean, they were doing pretty well without him. I mean, they're a much better team, you know, with him, but they can win games, right? They proved it. I love Drew Brees. I think we all do, Tom. I think we all love Drew. Trey Hendrickson is a beast. I think he needs a better nickname than T-Rex. Well, I don't think he had no issue with it. I don't care what they call him. You know, as long as they call it his name to get a sack. But you know we want the game against the Chiefs. Well, I tell you, I'll put it to you like this. What game would you rather have? Would you rather have the Chiefs in a regular season or the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? I would rather have the Chiefs in a Super Bowl. I can care less. Like I said, I can care less about a regular season. Saints win one more game, they guaranteed the playoffs. Okay? I don't care if the Saints win one more game and fall off a cliff, they still going to the playoffs. All right. So the way I see it, I don't care about this regular season Chiefs game. I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10, more times than not, the Chiefs gonna be in the Super Bowl, and if the Saints do what they're supposed to do, they can get their rematch. I'm not concerned about that. I don't care about the Chiefs, like for real. Like I hope everybody. Look, I get it. It's a measuring stick game, right? It's a measuring stick. Oh man, we going up against the world champs. I can care less. All right. Look, I want to see the Chiefs a second time. All right, because that means that the Saints went to the Super Bowl. That's what I want. I don't care about no Chiefs and no Saints. I don't. Not this time around. I just want to be in a playoff. Get me in the playoffs. Let's win, 1, 2, or 3 games, whatever position that you're in, and let's get to the Super Bowl. Because time is a ticking, all right? You ain't going to get too many opportunities like this. KC game will be true gauge of how good our defense really is. Yeah. Titans versus Saints in the Super Bowl. That wouldn't surprise me. Titans are really good. What if the Falcons' game plan is to stop Taysom and we start Winston? Well, wouldn't surprise me. We going to smoke the Chiefs. Look, I do think that the Chiefs are a tad bit overrated than people making them out to be. I think that they are overrated. I don't think they just out here just destroying teams. I think their defense is suspect, and I think there's some things you can exploit. We definitely don't need to be playing in snow, rain, weather in the playoffs for sure, though. Why not? Why not? That's another thing. Like I said, the stigmas, right? Dome teams can't travel. Dome team can't play in the cold. Dome teams can't play outside. Like, come on, man. The Saints beat Philadelphia, right? In Philly. It was cold out there. All right? I mean, so, look, I'm not buying this, folks. I'm not buying it, man. Like I said, that's the narrative. That's what they try to do. They try to get you all scared and shook and be like, oh, man, it's over because they're a dome team going. Like, bruh, this team is one of the best teams in the National Football League playing on the road. They're one of the best. So, I don't care. I don't care about them playing. I don't care about them playing on the road. That's stupid. Like, what teams forgot? Like, think about this. You got dudes from different walks of life, right? You got dudes from different colleges all across the country. Let's look at Ryan Ramczyk, for example. This guy went to Wisconsin. Does it snow in Wisconsin? Yes, it does. Nick Easton went to Harvard. You think Nick Easton, he in Massachusetts. You don't think it snows in Massachusetts? Drew Brees, he went to school in Indiana at Purdue. You don't think it snowed in Indiana? Michael Thomas, Ohio State. Malcolm Jenkins, Ohio State. Marshawn Lattimore, Ohio State. You got some guys that played in hot weather like C.D. Deuce and Janoris Jenkins, but Janoris Jenkins played all them years in New York. Does it not snow in New York? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we talking about? Like, that's the craziest thing ever. Dome teams. All teams they consist of a collection of players all across the country and around the world. That makes absolutely no sense if you look at it. None. That is just something that they just say to try to, I guess, make it intriguing and to get a good article going. Like that makes no freaking sense. You got some guys, like I said, they play in hot weather, they come from hot weather, right? Cam Jordan from California, cool, okay? He's not used to playing in cold weather. But for the most part, you got other guys all across the league, man. I don't care if they're playing in the dome. I don't care if they playing, bruh, that's so dumb. That's dumb. If you think about it, if they really truly thought about what they're saying, they probably would never say it again. They probably never say it again because that makes no sense. First time listeners, you have a good flow and are entertaining to listen to. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. I hope it's not your last time. I really don't, I really don't. But we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. And I will be on forever. I Love Atlanta Sports podcast. On tonight, it's called Forever. I Love Atlanta Sports podcast. I'm going behind enemy lines, y'all, to talk about the Saints game versus the Atlanta Falcons. So encouraging everybody to go to youtube.com, search Forever I Love Atlanta Sports. Go to their YouTube channel at 8:30 tonight, 8:30 p.m. tonight Eastern time. I'll be on the show, so I'm looking for the Who Dat Nation to come out and support. I don't know how many Falcon fans going to be there, so I will hope that some of the Who Dat Nation to come and support your boy. Once again, YouTube.com, search Forever I Love Atlanta Sports. All right, so if you're not doing anything around 8:30 tonight, come join the show, see what I have to say, get in the chat. I'm pretty sure some Atlanta Falcon fans going to have some stuff to say, which, I always enjoy, talking to other teams and stuff like that. I really enjoy doing that. I really do. So, ought to be interesting, ought to be fun. So, hope to see you there. Chad said, first time listening here too. I might have missed this, but Taysom, yay or nay over Winston and why? Okay, this will be the last question. I'm answering because you're new, and I appreciate you being here. Taysom over Jameis. I would say yes right now because Taysom actually knows the playbook more than Jameis. Jameis, no OTAs, no minicamp, understanding the complexity of the Saints playbook and the time that it takes in order for you to, grow in the Saints system. I think Taysom is the best choice. Now, Jameis could pass him up, right? With film study and, working on some of the little things that can make him a better quarterback. My opinion is subject to change, but as of right now, I'm going to go with Taysom over. All right, so thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com. Search the State of the Saints podcast, and thank you all so much. Earlier this week, we have passed. Well, we're up to 5,000 subscribers right now. 5,000 subscribers. We have went over the 5,000 mark, and I want to say thank you all so much for making this show so successful, for helping the show to grow. Man, I remember when I first started this show. Now we got 5,000 subscribers, and another thing that I'm proud of, man, the State of the Saints podcast has been downloaded 850,000 times. Okay, over the time that it first started, it has been downloaded 850,000 times. So we're almost at 1 million. That is humbling and unbelievable at the same time, man. So we're just getting started. We're starting to grow, and I know we're going to grow to a larger channel. And I thank all of you who have been here since day one, who saw the promise in this channel and has helped contribute to this success. I really do. Thank you so much. Roger Williams says, I hate how all these big sports analysts always against us and always riding Tom Brady behind. Roger, Gucci Mane, thank you very much for the $5. But I appreciate it, Roger, man. Thank you so much, Gucci. And thank y'all so much. And if you don't know, you can check out the State of the Saints podcast on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Wherever you get your podcast, I'm pretty sure we're going to be there. And thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully I see you all tonight on Forever I Love Atlanta Sports podcast. And until next time, all I got to say is, who dat?